Hello.
Yes, I will. Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry.
No worries.
The problem is that in Delhi, getting parking
Getting
is
what?
getting parking is so tough.
Sorry, your voice is echoing a little.
Yeah, Sangeeta ma'am, you have to mute yourself. I think now it is fine, right?
Yes, fine. Yeah.
Uh, so getting parking for your car is so tough, na? Like you have to spend 5 minutes at least.
No problem.
So let us start. So good morning. One thing that what we wanted to do is what we were discussing, me, Devdu, that we have some data which Sangeeta has collected through a survey,
Correct.
and we have sent that data. Two, three things we want to do. That one is the data presentation on the
Hmm.
technology, what we are seeing in
Hmm.
microfinance sector first thing. On the basis of data, there may be certain gaps which we can do a panel discussion on it or something like that, a kind of webinar jointly Sadhan and
Hmm.
Action. Then on the basis of that one, we can develop a project proposal. Uh, One of the project proposal is developing a technology
Hmm.
for public support and give it to the smaller MFIs. And because in most of the cases, they also are trying to adopt the technology, but in most of the cases, what has happened that they are not acquainted with the technology side. They know what exactly they need, but the technology side they don't know. So in this situation, whatever the supply side is feeding them, they are thinking that maybe this is the better one, and they
Hmm.
are buying it. And it is, if they are investing money, it cannot be for 1 year. It is going on for 3, 4 years, 5 years, and after 6 months, they are getting to understand that okay, there is something discrepancy, there is something incongruence between your need and what they have been provided to. So we were thinking that if we can do something
Hmm.
on this, and I think once we have actually, after that, what happened that we had a meeting with the finance secretary, and he suggested that he was asking Sidvi, why don't you invest money in technology and do something to rescue these people
Okay.
and bring them in one platform. Should we seem interested? I mean, a previous person, the CMD,
Hmm.
he was very much interested in technology.
Got it.
So he told, yes, we can do that one. Then we have sent a proposal, a brief note, I presume, if I
Hmm.
can remember properly. But nothing happened in that front because with SIDV, we are doing two enterprise promotion projects and two studies. One is your reaching to the unreached geographies, another one is your impact study with ideate.
Got it.
So because of we are having so many projects with them, it didn't move that much. And I also didn't want to means give it a shake because if I was doing that one, then there was a possibility that the project which we have done for reaching to the unreached geography could have been squashed.
Okay.
So I also didn't want to shake it at that time. Now it
Got it.
is the act, and then we started talking to Devdut that how can we take it forward? We have some data. It may not be, I mean, I have seen the data. The parameters are good, but it is not a very polished data and it is not very sequential. I can understand. So if we can do that one, then Devdut told, okay, if we can send the data. So we have sent the data to you.
Hmm.
And now we have to roll it on. This is where we are standing.
Got it. Now, uh, so based on what we heard and what even your information, right? Clearly, it's like bunch of technology solutions that are kind of missing, and therefore there is an opportunity for investment. So I'm just trying to borrow this because we had a similar conference just last week in Indonesia,
Hmm.
which where ILO, right, the uh, for they
International
the
Labour Organization.
funnily they were uh, engaged in a project which is like driving MSME uh, growth, right? And part of it was also about getting loans, and therefore, who are they getting loans from? And therefore, there is a challenge there in terms of the efficiency of these loan loan access providers, which is almost similar to what's happening now. And
Hmm.
as part of it, it was concluded that there is a need for an investment of technology for those folks, but there's no standard platform. So what ended up is ILO as an organization was working with the consultant. Let's say borrow the similar idea in terms of putting a framework of how what are the solutions required, solution selection, vendor options, and facilitating the whole the selection. And then as part of that, there is also an investment in technology where ILO was giving some funds, but it is always about people who are interested in investing need to invest part, and the remaining funds will be coming from ILO. Right? So it's kind of in this context, like SIDB may be funding investments, and the remaining funding needs to probably come from the organization. And then there's it's like an RFP floated, right? Which basically says that if people are interested, then let's assume Sadhan will and Axion can help in the program selection, kickoff, solution selection, and all of that. And out of we do a webinar, and then out of that we understand who are the interested parties, float an RFP, and then say whomsoever is interested need to apply for this particular program. SIDB funds it, and then we support these two people who are or three people who are interested. So maybe the construct can be or not construct. The program can be like that, which we can propose to SIDB. But to like you said, to even trigger off interest and saying what we are thinking, what we are doing, what we want to do, we can do a webinar with people to just state, what are we trying to do and what is the benefit that's likely to happen. Yeah. Maybe we can take it in two parts. One is about creating awareness of a program in terms of what we are looking at, gaps
Yeah.
in technology, and what are the kind of bare
So
metal investments are required. Yeah, I'll pause here.
no, Balaji, I just had one point, and I think we briefly discussed this. The first point was that, yeah, I mean, I agree to this approach, and this is what we had discussed. But
Mhm.
maybe the first phase could be a sort of a workshop with small and
Yeah,
medium enterprises, and rather than a webinar, could be in person, if possible,
yeah,
And the second part, I think this is. The I think it covers the requirements, but I think there could also be one aspect to it, which is uh, that is there a scope to create a shared service sort of an infrastructure rather than uh,
mm,
suggesting vendors. So I mean, if let's say you remember the discussion on
yeah,
Amazon Web Services we had,
correct.
so if we say that you have, let's say, cloud available for everybody. I mean, just giving a very basic example,
Right.
at a discounted rate, and everybody could. Similarly, there could be a decision engine. We could, talk to, let's say, one decision
Yeah,
engine provider and say that everybody can get access to it at a
yeah.
reasonable rate, and because it's shared, the cost per license should come down a little bit. So that those were my two questions that we if we could add that as well.
Yeah, I think we can do that. I mean, the only reason is at times what happens is that people want to have their own infrastructure. Then there'll be a regulator who will say we should have data should not be shared. So I'm just a little. I mean, shared service is the right model actually for them. We'll have to take it a step two in terms of whether they want to have it totally with them or yeah, or can it
I
be shared?
I think your point is absolutely right, but maybe when we do the workshop, we also
Yeah,
talk to a few
correct.
stakeholders and figure out if shared services can be a challenge and if there's an interest. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
What
Because
do you think, sir?
NABARD, because
Sorry.
NABARD has done it for many of the RRBs at one point in time, shared service, and TCS and Wipro were two people who were doing it. Many people had signed for it, so it's not like it's not doable, but they did it only for core, right? Here there'll be an LOS, there'll be something else. So maybe the platform cost will be shared, but I wonder how the licensing for vendors would. Yeah. So we'll take that. I mean, maybe that's a good point. We'll have to figure that out. But I'm just borrowing this idea from what's happening in Indonesia. Dave, you were also there on the call, right? So
Hmm.
that's a construct as well. Like there's an open RFP, and then people who actually pitch for it, and only those interested.
So in that case, if we are having a shared service, because what we possibly want to do
Hmm.
is a kind of technology has two parts. One technology is data and data uploading, data aggregation, everything. Another technology is also their internal technology,
Hmm.
like mm, like your management, then your accounting, all those
Correct.
stuff. So what primarily we want to do possibly is there's their internal systems and
Correct.
other for social, especially for the less than 500 crore entities.
Yeah.
Correct.
No. So,
Hmm.
Saiba, like we had discussed, so we
Hmm.
could essentially, I mean, Balaji could help create an ideal structure of, architecture of how an MFI should look like in
Hmm.
its highest form. And then when we do the workshop, we could actually figure out what are the biggest gap areas and focus largely on, as you said, the internal technologies, backend operations and things, LOS, LMS, decision engine, and all of that. And
Hmm.
then figure out in the workshop that where does the interest lie. And
Hmm.
based on that, we could then try and curate what solution is
Hmm.
required. So if it's, let's say, what comes out is essentially an LOS, then what Balaji is saying is that we could negotiate with a few partners, bring them in, and see if there's any cost sharing possible. If the answer is data, then maybe we could look at shared services, things like that.
Good. Balaji, have you seen our data?
No,
What
I've seen
Sangeeta
it.
said?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I've seen it. It doesn't. So it's like it's reflecting what we, in a way,
Hmm.
kind of know. So I've seen the data. What it reflects is basically you don't have some system. This, so it's like, yeah, that's kind of how it reflects.
What I'm trying to understand that from that data analysis, after analysis of that data, are you seeing that there are certain requirements for the microfinance institution or something, some output of it? Anything in your mind after seeing the data?
See, सबको लगता है कि LMS LOS चाहिए होगा. That's kind of how
LOS,
I.
क्या होगा?
The LOS, basically the loan origination system, right? And
Hmm.
so they seem to be very uh, behind in those, right? So it
Okay.
looks like very clearly they need core systems in place, right? That's
Hmm.
kind of how it looks. I'm not getting into the other enterprise solutions like HR and all because it's not coming out very evident there. But at least these
Hmm.
basic systems would be required.
Hmm.
Now, the second thing is, I don't think we need to go so far ahead in terms of doing things like customer app and वो सब नहीं चाहिए. कम से कम basic foundational
Hmm.
LOS DFA types करेंगे तो it will come at some level is where I kind of sense. And
Hmm.
therefore, yeah. And then the other thing is general insights of reporting. वो भी उनको चाहिए होगा.
There you go, for sure.
Yeah. So at
Good.
least keep it simple and then say, okay, level one is something like this, which is what we need. Yeah.
So Balaji, Devdu, what we can do? I'm just forgetting where have we sent it? Either Nabard or Sydney. Mm,
Then let us send it again to both.
Because
no,
NABARD will support.
instead of doing that one, but I'm thinking that let us do a webinar on the data we have and also your insight and everything. And let us ask Nabard to be part of that discussion wherever we have sent it. Because if we bring them, from the onset of everything, there will be a kind of ownership, and we can ask fund for that because free में तो होगा नहीं, हमें तो fundraise करना पड़ेगा ना. Then we can ask them for the funding of
But
this one.
webinar ka, sorry, Sangeeta has a, I think, a question.
Yeah.
So the hands up for a while. So
Yes. Yes. So I from the document, Devdut and Balaji, actually, what surprised me was I had asked about 25 applications that one MFI can use. And I was surprised that even a small MFI also has responded to the aspect which I didn't anticipating that they would respond to.
Yeah.
The second thing is 25 of them. Many of them I also am not very clear what purpose they use it for. But small MFIs also have responded, even if they are just 5, 6, or 7 out of so many who have responded. That is one very surprising thing.
Mhm.
And the second thing is they if you see, the vendors are either serving the small MFIs or the big MFIs. The
Yeah.
mid size MFIs are serviced by different kind of vendors. That also means that the vendors have their things, they have many aspects built up in their solution,
Yeah.
but they are offering to the small MFIs at their prices. And the big MFIs, whoever can afford big price, they are providing them that solution. So at the vendor level, they don't
Mm.
have this expertise to
Mm.
mm, solve. They have the expertise to solve, but they don't have the expertise to reach out at that particular price to the small MFIs, which means that
Mm.
they don't know how to market. They don't even know
Mm.
how to no subsidize their prices. That is why, as Seval was saying, that the
Mm.
shared services, no, that will have a bigger buy-in because
Which
of that.
services?
here
Which
it is.
services?
Shared services that we are talking about. So,
No, but
so
when you look at, you're right. But I think the point is, uh, when I look at the insights, right? Many of them have an LMS. We don't know whether the LMS is the satisfaction level looks like 33% are saying it's okay, not okay.
So that is
So
what Balaji. I am coming to that.
yeah,
See, not many of them have, if not any of them have said that the services are
mm,
excellent, which
correct.
means each of the respondent were given to know only part of the
Mm,
solution that they have bought,
mm,
you know. So
yeah.
there is not enough, no, not enough knowledge to recognize what solution and what for, why should they pay
Mm,
for,
mm,
and what would this bring them, no.
mm,
So this is a big gap.
mm.
Might be because, and I associate this fact with the
Okay.
fact that the vendors for small
Yeah.
and big are
Yeah.
the same,
Correct.
and that gives a hint that the solution is at hand, but because of the price they are not able
Mm,
to access it, and the vendor is not able to provide it at that price to the smaller
yeah.
ones.
Mm,
So here is our purpose. No, we have to have a bigger reason. Whatever technology is there, whether they are,
mm,
none of them are understanding 100%. Not even the banks, not even the SFDs.
mm.
So we have a thing. No, our responsibility is there, lies there,
Got it.
to
Got it.
bring in more knowledge, whichever
Yeah.
is applicable to them. We are not bringing something extraordinary. It is there. Yesterday we had a webinar on about EKYC, which was being talked since last year. We could bring it this year
Got it.
only. The regulation and the infrastructure that is being built, Seval would talk about it more.
Yeah.
And so it takes time. So unless we initiate at this stage,
Correct.
for all the things, 25 of them,
Yeah.
it will not happen. It will be delayed. That is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sangeeta. So
Yeah.
you are telling that the products are available, but it is not getting aligned with the need, or like when they are putting in operations, this microfinance institutions are not happy with the service. What exactly is there?
So what the vendor has say services A, B, C, D, and the MFIs understand only A, B. Then they will buy only A, B. The vendor is not orienting them about C, D, because the MFI, smaller MFIs are saying that this is my budget. I cannot buy, I cannot invest more. That means even if they need C and D, they are not given any solution because of the price constraint, you know. So there is a requirement, but it is not available at that particular budget.
Okay,
Yeah.
so could understand. I mean, so do you have direct question on that one? Did you have? I don't think there was this direct question.
Uh, no, there was no direct question because I was not actually expecting so much of response, you know. So I didn't expect. So there are many aspects which I didn't. It surprised me. So if I would have anticipated that this is the scenario, I would have put more questions. I didn't. So
But anyway, Sangeeta, you do have some base idea about the situation. So, Devdut and Balaji, both of you, that let us build up on that one. So let us explore our first this your webinar will be a more insight bigger one. We will present our these data and we will start rolling on to understand that what do they need, right?
Yeah.
And on the basis of that one, we will take our next course of action. And this is also to bring transparency in the segment and to strengthen the segment, especially the small MFIs, to make them tech savvy. If it is necessary, we can also think of a training program for them. है ना? That what is the need, what kind of things are there in the market. I mean, it may be a bit loud thinking, but we need also the capacity building. One is technology. We will definitely do something to give them a kind of SaaS model or whatever model evolves. We will try to get that one for. But there is also a significant capacity gap, I presume, that people generally do not understand what kind of product they can go for.
So,
So
Saival,
मेरे
हाँ
ख्याल
जी,
से ना we should do it as a workshop model. ये
yeah,
webinar मुझे लगता है
precisely.
कि उसमें कुछ निकलेगा नहीं. See,
Interaction नहीं होता, interaction
see
नहीं होता
what,
है ना.
yeah, I'm not in favor of webinar because people lose interest after 15-20 minutes. हम PPT बनाएंगे. It will be like okay, but if we want to get to the depth, right? Like what Sangeeta madam said very rightly, it looks like at least मेरे हिसाब से जब मैं देख रहा हूँ सबके पास LOS LMS है लेकिन satisfaction level on LOS LMS is what we need to see कि is it a price issue, is it an understanding issue, is it like what madam was saying that vendor दे देता है लेकिन solution use करने के लिए capacity या capability नहीं है. We need to be able to triage all of that to then conclude bunch of actions and it needs to come from at least 8 to 10 फोकस ग्रुप जो आके हमको इस लेवल पे डिटेल. इट्स लाइक दिस हैज बीन अ गुड एक्सप्लोरेटरी एंड द गुड थिंग वुड बी टू summarize this and then say like when I'm reading this, right, the summary bullet points is that everybody, majority seem to have some software. These softwares are not consistent. There are varied levels of software. Craft Silicon as an example is a predominantly the main software that people use. The satisfaction level from a pricing is low. From a service is also kind of low. Are kind of key takeaways, right? So now the question would be to solve for it. Is it that humko Craft Silicon, because I work with Craft Silicon and I know they are decent, but they have like what Madam said, differential treatment. अगर कोई customer बड़ा है तो फिर उसका एनर्जी और फोकस वहां पे जाएगा. जो कस्टमर छोटा है और जिसका रेवेन्यू कम है उसको ज़्यादा भाव नहीं देगा. So then what madam is saying is quite right. Like, does it mean then we have a consolidated shared service model where the collective strength will ensure that there is support and flexibility, right? तो हमको उस सेशन में ये भी बात होगा कि शेयर्ड सर्विस का कंस्ट्रक्ट क्या काम करेगा कि नहीं करेगा, which basically means कि अगर सबको एक एलएमएस दें और आप लोग सबको एक ही एलएमएस यूज करें जहाँ का सिस्टम सब एक है, I can get Craft Silicon guy to come and speak about it, right? To understand whether there is a merit in that kind of a model.
Uh,
So my feeling is we should probably do it more like a workshop. I am not so convinced about a webinar.
no, before this, we can have a warm-up webinar, Balaji and Dev, because no, we need to also know that they are interested to come to that workshop, and what do they expect in that workshop. Warm-up अगर नहीं करेंगे ना, अगर हम उनको बताएंगे नहीं, at least to these participants of this survey that I did, उनको बताना तो है ना, आपने information दिया, but
Correct.
I mean, what Sangeeta is telling,
yeah.
that I do agree with that one. That you see, what shall we be bring them for? We have to have a structured thing that this is what we'll be doing in the
Okay.
workshop. I totally agree that workshop is better than your virtual thing. Virtual is always virtual, but for the base, for the preparation of that workshop, we need a kind of
ठीक है.
interface.
No, no,
And
I
in
get
that
it.
interface, we would like to also bring in your workshop, we may not get NABARD, but in your this webinar kind of thing, now we can bring them. Then we can
Okay.
also get their insight. We can also, I mean, what do you call, push forward our agenda in their agenda. So all these things are there because at the end of the day, we have to both of the institution. We are not a profit-making institution. We have to
Yeah.
raise fund. So unless and until we are raising fund, we cannot.
Yeah.
We can do some activities, but we cannot do a major activity. But what I want to do is what I am looking forward, a big project
Hmm.
where this capacity building will be there, then your technology, promotion of technology, development of technology, whatever comes, we will do. Then we will have a kind of this session what you were telling about this physical workshop we will do. So these are the things, three, four things we were thinking. That means that's what I think it would be justified one.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
no, fair point. So maybe what we could do is in the workshop, basically talk about the
Webinar
context,
or workshop?
the webinar, sorry,
Webinar, okay.
the context
Hmm.
on what are we planning to do.
Hmm.
Talk about an ideal kind of structure
Hmm.
or or architecture, tech architecture.
Hmm.
We can also talk about our findings from the research,
Hmm.
and then we could do some sort of a poll. Okay, let's say a one poll or one collaborative work so that we get some feedback from the participants on A, what are their priority areas,
Hmm.
and B, whether they are interested in a workshop, in-person workshop
Agree.
later. And yeah, we could close at that. Keep it just a crisp 45-minute kind of a
हाँ बिल्कुल
thing.
बिल्कुल
What do you think, Balaji?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. At least it'll be a good sense to say we play back what we heard from you.
Yeah.
And this is like the typical target architecture and models where we can talk about shared
Uh,
service.
and with Sadhan's reach, I think turnout will definitely happen. So if we could do a
हाँ
quick
हाँ
poll,
that's for sure.
yeah, we could do a quick poll to figure out whether they're interested. That will give us some sense as well.
And also we can build up a project proposal on the basis of that one,
Yeah.
where one of the activities will be that workshop as well. It may be one workshop, two workshops, whatever. We can do
Yeah.
that one. है ना?
Yeah,
Mhm.
sure.
Sounds good. So over the next action is a date, and I think Sangeeta, it would be good if we are getting CTOs.
CTOs, yes.
You are a new fan.
Yes, CTOs, yes.
So we can get like, are we targeting less than 500 crores or all of them?
Majorly less than 500 crores. But maybe we can have representative of, because the survey has been responded by bigger MFIs also. Muthoot also was, Muthoot, Asirvad, all those people were also there. IFL also was there. So maybe one or two of them, or whoever has responded to that survey, we can bring them to that webinar. We can decide about the workshop कि किसको बुलाना.
Sangeeta, one thing that we do have this your list of the CTOs, right?
Yes.
Okay, then it's fine. Because I don't want to open it up for everyone. I want to bring the specific category of people who can think and who can help us to build up the larger agenda.
Yep.
है ना? ठीक है. So what I'll do, Sangeeta, the first thing what we have to do possibly is fix a date, maybe a month time. And second, we have to have an exhaustive list of CTOs. I think, I mean, whatever you have, it's fine. But Devinder was also collecting something, and we can also ask our data team every quarter they get some data on couple of your this employees, like CEO information about CEO, CTO, everything. So we can get some help from them.
So
So what time
23rd
would
of
be?
May,
Huh?
sorry, 23rd of May would be a good date for our deliberations,
Just
Balaji and Dev.
Would that be sufficient time for you all to invite then?
Hmm.
Like normally we give at least a month generally so that
Okay,
people are prepared. And सब लोग का vacation period भी है, पता नहीं कितने लोग रहेंगे नहीं रहेंगे.
okay.
I think June people
First
get
week.
back to school, right? June's second week, because first week was the people, fifth, sixth is when people come back.
Hmm.
So my sense is it'll be good to think about once people get back from the vacation. So my sense is June
11.
11th will be a good, yeah, 10th, 11th will be a good, yeah.
So I'm fixing it on 11 June.
Yeah.
Okay. Please book your calendars also, all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. So in between,
आप एक invite भेज दो ना संगीता जी, if you don't mind, to all of us that this is the date,
Okay,
and so that all of us can just
okay.
But one thing I don't know, you guys are technology savvy guys. I mean, I get this invitation, but it is not coming on my calendar. Why is it so? Couple of time, couple of time it comes, couple of time it doesn't.
या
हमारा भी
फोन
ऐसे ही होता है.
फोन से भेजते हो क्या? Send it by
नहीं, नहीं.
नहीं उसको convert task कर देना होता है.
But did
तो
you get my invite? Because it they automatically syncs with your calendar.
हाँ. Yesterday I got it. Yesterday or day before yesterday, I got your thing.
कभी कभी Teams का नहीं आता है when you, I don't know. I've seen
अच्छा.
some,
team
I
sometimes
have
is a
no
problem.
idea.
So
It
anyway,
gets
I have no
forwarded as
answer to
mail.
that.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. So
We-
on 11th June, we will do that one. In between, what Sangeeta can do possibly that she can clean the data or from Axiom, if you can have the, I mean, if you see the data and if you want to cluster it under certain categories, will be good for us. And Sangeeta can also work on that and develop a PPT for our this event for the presentation. It will be the lead PPT for our this webinar. Then we will start rolling on the discussion. Balaji, would you
Yeah,
like to do that one? Cluster it.
yeah.
Oh,
I will do two things. One is typically क्या architecture होता है, right? Then एक slide में मोटा मोटा क्या vendors है. Let's see whether we are getting that. And then what are the survey results in terms of what
hmm,
are people. So let me do that and send that across.
perfectly fine.
And then we can build on that. Yeah.
Hmm. And let us create a project proposal. Our target is to create a proposal for this development finance institution.
Hmm.
Actually, Devdut, one thing that in our last discussion in Chennai,
Mm-hmm.
people were talking about these international DFIs.
Right. Right.
Who are they basically? Any idea?
There are like quite a few of them. For example, people like ADB,
Huh.
uh,
No.
So
Mm.
there are quite,
Multilateral banks.
yeah, there are quite a few others as well.
Mm.
So I can share the list with you of
Okay.
DFIs.
Okay. Perfectly fine. Because it would be helpful for us also to
Yeah, yeah, sure.
ठीक है. Okay. Thank you very much. Nice to talk to you.
Thanks.
Good day.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.